Hey guys, Austin here with Outer World Media. Welcome back. Got a Louis L'Amour book review here for you guys, and that is The Broken Gun. This is one I'm not going to lie. When you look at the cover art here, I really thought this was going to be a Western, but this really isn't. I'm going to read the back here for you because I think this will tell you as much information as you need to know. So, begin with the massacre of 27 innocent men. Follow it with two brutal murders almost 90 years later. Add two curious, hard-bitten veterans of the guerrilla fighting and a beautiful, terror-stricken girl. That sums up this book very, very well. If I had to sum it up myself, how would I sum it up? I would say this is like Rambo First Blood, part one, but on a ranch. You have our main character, Mr. Sheridan, is how he's referred to in the book. He is kind of a famous author. He's rubbed elbows with some big wigs and whatnot. He's got some higher up friends in the government and whatnot. He served in Vietnam. He was a POW. He's escaped some of those camps two or three times. He talks about it a little bit in the book and whatnot, reminiscing. But he's in this town, this local town, when he's telling people, I'm just trying to get an idea for a book that I'm trying to come up with, but I just need some ideas. And he ends up meeting this gentleman at this local bar who says, hey, I have, this ranch, you should come out. I think you'd be great. I think you'd love to see the area. We can show you around, kind of free up your mind. You can look at the landscape. Maybe it'll give you some ideas and whatnot. Especially, once you see how the landscape is, you can incorporate that into your book and it'd just be awesome to, read about, essentially my backyard as a landscape in your book. And so Mr. Sheridan reluctantly agrees. He's a little curious why this guy would just invite him randomly, but he says, you know what, that's good. And so as he goes there and starts to get there, we come to realize that Mr. Sheridan has an alternate motive than what he led on. You see, he found this broken gun with letter inside or notes from a journal talking about some stuff that happened 90 years previously, and he is trying to figure out that mystery. But what he can't figure out is how that mystery from 90 years ago, what that has to do with today and what that has to do with the people that invited him over. So he ends up getting this ranch, and it's literally a fight for survival for him. He is literally like Rambo when in part one, where the police officers are chasing him and whatnot in this mountain. That's Mr. Sheridan, but he is being tracked down and chased by these people who live on the land. They know the land very well. But what these people don't realize, again, Mr. Sheridan was a Vietnam veteran, and one of the neighbors served with him, and so he kind of gets a little bit of help. Again, I'm not trying to go into too much depth in this book, but it's kind of hard to talk about this book without going into stuff a little bit. Again, I really, really enjoyed this book. It kind of floored me that this wasn't a Western, I'm not going to lie, but again, I highly, highly enjoyed this book. The more I was reading it, the more I kept thinking, man, this really is like Rambo and whatnot. And again, just the idea of Louis L'Amour kind of coming up with something like this was very, very unique. There's some mystery from, years ago mixed with violence of today's age. Again, it's just a little weird, even now, after reading quite a few Louis L'Amour books, to come across a book where it talks about ambulances and sheriff cars and whatnot. And so, again, I really, really enjoyed this book. I think you guys would get a kick out of this if you are just a casual fan of Louis L'Amour and you're looking for something that's maybe not a Western, or maybe you're just, you're a really big fan of his, but you're looking for something that's a little bit different, again, than a Western. I would recommend this book. Again, you have the scenery of like a Western, but it's more modern age. Again, it's fight for survival. You have one guy pitted up against like 8 different people. So again, I really, really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend this. I wish this is one that I had read a while ago because I enjoyed it. I mean, I read this book in less than a day. I mean, and that's not a big surprise. I mean, it's a Louis L'Amour book. It's less than 200 pages. It's like 150 pages. So this is definitely one. Once you sit down and get kind of sucked into the story, I don't think you'll have an issue sitting down in one sitting and just finishing this book. Again, I really, really enjoyed it. I highly recommend that you guys pick this up and give it a try. Let me know down below. Have you guys read this book? If not, does this sound interesting to you? Again, if you know of any other Louis L'Amour books that are kind of like this, where they have a Western setting, but it's more of a modern day and age, let me know. I'm definitely wanting to branch out on the Louis L'Amour books and read stuff by him that aren't necessarily just Westerns. So again, guys, The Broken Gun by Louis L'Amour. Should you pick it up? Yes. As always, I can almost guarantee you, every time I do a Louis L'Amour book review, I can almost guarantee you I'm going to say yes, pick it up. Especially this one. Again, Western setting, but modern day. Man versus man. One of the best books I think that he's written that's not a Western. As always, guys, you guys have a good one. Have a happy New Year's, and I'll see you guys later.